The biggest mistake people make with estate planning is by far overthinking it, procrastinating, and letting anxiety and fear get in the way of them going to that first meeting. What if I overpaid? Do I really need an attorney for this? If I go to meet an attorney, are they going to speak to me in a bunch of strange words? How do I know who to trust? The movie playing through a lot of people's heads is somewhat analogous to what I feel when I go to a car dealership, a disorienting sense of being out of my element and all the insecurity that goes with it. That's enough reason for people to procrastinate. But how do you avoid analysis paralysis? How do you make sure you're going to have a successful first meeting? So let's rip the Band-Aid off and review how to prep yourself for that first meeting so it can be a success and you don't end up procrastinating endlessly. If you're someone that wants to get your estate in order and wants to get over the hump and work with an attorney without feeling at a disadvantage, this is the video for you. I have over a decade of experience meeting with families, and I can tell you from personal experience that there are a lot of people with apprehension about that first meeting. So who will benefit the most from this video? People looking to dispel their anxiety about meeting with an attorney, people that want to get the most out of working with an attorney, and people that don't want to be taken advantage of. And then also people that want to have some sense of what kind of questions they should ask or what issues to be attentive to, as well as people that just don't want to make mistakes. When an attorney says, get your estate plan done, that's great, but there's a pretty big gap between that idea and actually doing it. How do we bridge it? Let's find out how to build that bridge. At NTegrity Law, we've guided thousands of families through estate planning options, and today we're giving you the inside view on how to make sure that you form a healthy relationship at that first estate planning meeting. So how do you avoid analysis paralysis? How do you avoid endless doom scrolling or Google searches? By far, the biggest estate planning mistake is just procrastinating that first meeting to the point of disaster. So how can we constructively move past that? How can we take the intimidation, anxiety, and temptation to get one more piece of information out of the equation so we can move forward constructively? One thing I hear all the time is, I've done my online research and it's never ending. And that makes a lot of sense. Think about it. This is a highly technical field that you've stumbled into. An attorney spends 3 years of their life studying the law, has to pass a very challenging test to be licensed, and then spends years working under other lawyers before becoming sufficiently qualified in a field. In estate planning, you can even supplement your education officially with further education called an LLM. The law itself is constantly changing and being updated. Even if you have an academic understanding, there is also that further tier of knowledge of experiencing directly how everything works in the real world. The truth is, it's a full-time job to really develop fluency in all of the aspects of estate planning. There is a point where even raw technical facts of the law require a further level of refinement. And in fact, this is something that your attorney is supposed to help you with. What gives context and meaning to that never-ending, overwhelming wall of facts that you could never realistically matter or become fluent in? What does that are your goals. To help get you motivated, here is a more effective exercise than scrolling. Having a refined sense of where your planning is now and a sense of how you feel about that. What kind of constructive experiences would you want to create for your family if something happened to you? An example could be just making things easier for them or to minimize the amount of unnecessary suffering that your passing has to cause them. Those all are pretty good things to think about. Another thing to consider is have an idea what your family's lived experiences might look like if you did absolutely nothing. What movies might play through their head when living through an emotionally challenging time if they lack the encouragement or guidance from you expressed through that document. That's what really matters. Those acts about estate planning that helps organize the facts, and it's the attorney's job to help you sift through that barrage of information and have it be in service of your goal. Now, if you've done your research, but you might wonder if you look bad in front of the attorney and ask a silly sounding question, well, you know what? That's fair. No one wants to reveal that they didn't know something. Even if I tell you that no one realistically expects you to know everything about estate planning when you come into that meeting, The fear is still going to be there, but there is a silver lining to this. This is a great way to judge whether you have a good attorney or not. Does he show empathy to you? If he can't be empathetic enough to assist you in not feeling bad about asking these essential questions that are necessary for you to achieve your goals, how can you work with that attorney effectively? Part of our role as attorneys is to represent normal people, and that requires us to be good translators of what is, quite frankly, a rather pretentious legal language. If your attorney can't do that, how can he truly represent you? If you're asking an embarrassing question, you're engaging with that person and you're asking them to help you achieve that goal. Now, if you don't know everything, how will you know if the attorney is providing good advice? Again, the pursuit of total knowledge is ultimately a fruitless one. You can never anticipate every possibility. Having clearly articulated goals brings the world into focus. The way you can establish those goals is by thinking about your family members' temperaments and what kind of experiences they are likely to have if nothing is done versus what kind of experiences you would like them to have if you planned. All you really need going into the meeting are those refined goals because they give you the tool you need to make sure that the attorney is treating you properly. Attorneys can get lost in facts just as easily as clients. And if you don't have your goals, there is a risk that you're going to get hit with a one-size-fits-all solution that ignores your specific situation. That's where you start getting that uneasy feeling, and it can start to feel like maybe you're at a car dealership. If you want some technical knowledge, that's fine, but really a little basic understanding and those goals goes a long way. It's better to refine those goals and trust them to be the guide that holds everything together during the planning sessions, rather than losing confidence or just not doing anything. Now, you do need some help plotting out those goals. Well, our team at NTegrity Law can help you look at the full picture and build a plan that honors both your wishes and your legal obligations. We can work those out, translate the basic legal language, and get things moving forward in service of what you want to accomplish, thus avoiding the biggest estate planning mistake by far, procrastination. Now, if you found this helpful, you'll definitely want to check out our next video on powers of attorney. We break that topic down into plain English so you can understand how best to protect your family and loved ones. Schedule a consultation today. Call us at 847-802-9912. But thank you for joining us today.